y'all? Welcome back to another edition of Gen Sports Corner, back at you for November 25th, 2023. Hey, it's Thanksgiving weekend. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed it, ate well, you were safe, had fun, enjoyed family and friends. But you already know what time it is. Big fight tonight. Demetrius Andrade, however you want to pronounce it. Just make sure you don't forget the man's name and what he's done and what he's on the cusp of doing right now as he goes against the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. So before I get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, all the other good stuff. Go ahead and check out the website, genmusic856.com. You know, every time I drop a video, music, I'm in the stocks as well, so you know, holla at me. But that being said, let's go ahead and do the breakdown and prediction for this fight, and I'll give you who's going to win, what they're going to do, and why they're going to be able to do it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at this matchup. This is the last pay-per-view for Showtime Boxing. So, you know, I think this is a good send-off gift for the fans. A lot of people don't know who David Andrade is, but they're about to find out tonight. Very, very tricky, crafty opponent that will spoil your boxing. So you have David Andrade, number 4 ranked super middleweight, 32-0, 16 knockouts, I believe, 16 or 19 knockouts. I think 19 knockouts. 35 years old, fighting southpaw. 6 foot in height. He has a 73.5-inch reach. Going against David Benavidez. David Benavidez, 26 years old, number 2 ranked super middleweight in the world. 27 wins, 22 knockouts. He got a lot of power, as evidenced in his record there. Fighting orthodox, stands 6 feet 2 inches with a 74.5-inch reach. Right now, he is the odds-on favorite in Vegas. I think he's like -385 or -400. So he's a not extremely strong betting favorite, but he's definitely a solid betting favorite going into this matchup for the super middleweight championship bout tonight. So let's go ahead and look at the last 6 fights for these guys and see what they've been up to and what those competitions look like. So you have David Andrade, last 6 fights, he beat Artur Akavov back in January 18th of 2019 by TKO, and that was for the vacant that's for a vacant belt at, I believe, 160 or something like that, I think. Yeah, so he beat him for a vacant belt. Then he fought Selecki later that year in June 29th of that year. Got the unanimous decision over him. Then he went ahead and fought Luke Killer in January of 2020, TKO stoppage win. Then he fought Liam Williams in 2021 in April. And then he went ahead and beat Jason Quigley in November 19th, 2 years ago by TKO stoppage. And then his last fight, his first fight at 168, 10-round fight against Damon Nicholson. He got a very solid win over a solid opponent, nothing special, but it helped him get his feet wet at the weight. He looked comfortable. He didn't seem bothered by the power. He was able to put Nicholson on his butt once or twice. He put him down in the 10th round, which is impressive. After all those rounds of wearing him down, a guy that can take a lot of punches was still able to put him down once in the 10th. I think he showed that he's able to compete at this level. Now he's stepping up in competition big time against David Benavidez as we segue over and look at his past 6 fights. So his past 6 fights, he beat Anthony Hurrah. Now, this was actually after he got stripped of the title. I don't know if it was after he was partying and got hit with the nose dust charge by the sanctioning bodies, or if it was after he missed weight on the scale. But either way, came back, got the knockout victory over Anthony Hurrah in 2019 in September. Then he beat Romero Alexis. He retired in his corner. That was in 2020. And then Ronald Ellis, 2021 in March, TKO stoppage. Another TKO stoppage later that year in 2021 against Kyron Davis. Very tough fighter who actually gave him a lot of fire back. You know what I mean? He was getting hit and he was throwing bombs back. And he was losing steam as the fight went on, but he was still firing back to the end. Then he beat Lemieux in 2022, TKO stoppage. And I think the second round, that first round, he lit Lemieux up. And I don't think I've ever seen him hurt like that even more so than he was against Triple G. He just did not have an answer for Benavidez. The reach got to him, the height got to him, the size difference was apparent, and that was an impressive win by David Benavidez. And then his last fight against Caleb Plant earlier this year in 2023, where he got the unanimous decision over 12 rounds. The first 6 rounds, I had him losing 4 to 5 out of the first 6 rounds, and then he came on strong in the second half and was just like tagging up Caleb Plant. But great win for him. So that's what they've been doing their last 6 fights. They don't really have any layoff for either one of them. 7 months of inactivity for Benavidez, and then about 10.5 months of inactivity for Boo Boo. But like I said, he just had to fight earlier this year. He got used to the weight, and now he's ready to take that step up, and this is his chance, all right? So those are the last 6 fights for these guys. So let's go ahead and look at the keys to victory and all these different categories and who I have coming out the winner. So keys to victory, honestly, it's the exact same as what I had as the keys to victory for the Benavidez and Plant fight. And I'll tell you why. Because my keys to victory for Benavidez, 1, cut the ring off. And he struggled with that at times against Caleb Plant. And he was fortunate that he was able to, second key to victory, apply pressure early, which he did not do, but he started doing it often towards the middle of the fight onwards. And that's where the stamina came in. Caleb Plant, a notorious 6 to 8 round fighter, he started wearing down around the 6th and 7th round. And then Benavidez came on strong, as he always does, because he's a notoriously slow starting fighter. And he came on and applied that pressure. And then third, for Benavidez, be defensively responsible. All right, Benavidez, he gets lackadaisical on defense in spots, and he likes to come up in the high guard, especially when he's trying to, 1, figure out a guy, and 2, let's be honest, when he's trying to rest. Now, he plays it off as him walking forward and applying pressure, but make no mistake about it, he's taking a breather, putting those earmuffs up, taking a breather, and then at the same time being focused enough to be able to not worry about the fatigue that he's recovering from, and then closely and intently look at the guy, what he's throwing, how his stamina is, and what's the moment to strike. So those are the 3 things he has to do, just like he needed to do in the Plant fight. And then flip over to Andrade, the keys for victory for Andrade. 1, just like with Plant, movement, movement, movement. He still has the feet from what I can see. He still had them in that Nicholson fight from earlier this year when I was checking it. And it looks similar to the feat that he had against Jason Quigley back in 2021, down at 160 pounds, as well as when he was fighting Akavov and Martirosyan way back in the day, back in 2013. His feet look the same, if not similar, even at 35. So I like that about him. Part number 2, counterpunching and counterpunching well. He has an awkward style, slick boxer, huge amateur pedigree, Olympic, he was a star in the Olympics for the U.S. team. So he's seen every style possible for all intents and purposes. And then conversely, he has a style that nobody else can really emulate. There's nobody that Benavidez can bring into that training camp that's going to be remotely close to what he's going to see with Andrade, and vice versa. Andrade can't simulate Benavidez, which is what makes this fight so intriguing, because there's only but so much they can prepare for each other outside of the film room, because they are 2 truly unique fighters. And then third, pace yourself, because if anything can be taught to you from that fight with Caleb Plant is don't gas out. You don't want to do that against Benavidez, because he will take you to deep waters and drown your motherfucking ass, okay? That's what he does from pillar to post, from beginning to end. When he started to the present, he will take you to deep waters after you start slow, wait for you to wear it down, and start making mental mistakes. And then that's when he goes and applies that pressure, and when it rains, it pours. You know what I'm saying? All right, so those are my 3 keys to victory for each of them. Now, let me go ahead and read the comments here before I go ahead and say each of their respective attributes. So Zave here says, Boo Boo needs to get that respect early. Great take, and I agree. A lot of people have been saying that, and I concur with that as well as you. I concur with that 1,000%. You have to come out into the middle of that ring, get that respect off rip. Now, Canelo's another guy like that. where if you're fighting him, you have to get that respect off rip. So he should take a page out of Demetrius Bivol's book when he fought Canelo, and take a page out of that book for his fight against Benavidez. Come out and establish that jab early and establish the middle of the ring as yours. Now, you're going to move around, you're going to be mobile, but you need to come out and establish that respect, because you damn sure better know that David's going to come out and you know, he's grabbing his nuts, coming out to the middle of the ring and saying, this is the center of the ring, this is my time, okay? And you have to meet him with that same energy, all right? So that being said, let's go ahead and look into the different statistics and see how this thing is going to play out, at least from my viewpoint, okay? So let's start off with first category being speed. Both guys, very fast. Boo Boo, he's always been an athlete. I think he's still an athlete, even at 35. He's shown it in his past 3 to 4 fights that the athletic skills, the legs are still there. That's what I look for in all fighters, whether it's boxing, any forms of martial arts, wrestling, grappling. I look at the legs, pause. If your legs are there, the explosion is there, the strength is there, and the power to bring up and drive, be able to drive your punches through the opponent, if that is there, then we can start talking about everything else. And with David, he also has, you look at the legs, he's a big super middleweight. And you see that in his punches. Like his upper body, he doesn't look like jacked and built like a lot of these guys, but guess what? He's a skinny, fat kid. That's the best way I can put it. All right? He's the kid that's been fat all his life, as he said. Now he's older, he's in shape, and now he's that fat kid that cut out all that baby fat, and now he's a monster, okay? And he kept the speed. That being said, I have this as a push. I think they both have great speed, and I think they're both going to, they'll both find it out very soon in about 5-6 hours, okay? Second category, power. To me, this clearly goes to David Benavidez, and I think he's a big super middleweight. He probably should be fighting at 175, and him and his father have alluded to the fact that he's going to be moving up sooner rather than later. As he chases Canelo and as he chases bigger fights. And he's probably going to want to go up to a more natural weight. So he's the bigger guy. So he has to put in significantly less effort to bring the same power as Boo Boo's going to bring. All right. So Boo Boo, he's stronger than you think. Okay. Now, power and strength, two different things. But power-wise, David Benavidez. Okay. Third attribute, footwork. This one goes clearly in the other direction. Andrade is head and shoulders better when it comes to his footwork. His feet are still there. At least, you know, he ain't a spring chicken, but he ain't far off from it. The feet are still there. And he moves around the ring very, very well. David Benavidez doesn't have good feet, in the same sense as Canelo doesn't have good feet. But they both found a way to start to accentuate their other strengths to make up for the lack of foot speed or foot dexterity. So this one clearly goes to Boo Boo. Next one on the list, defense. This one also goes to Boo Andrade. He, like I said, he has the experience, the amateur pedigree. He hit the connect rate for his opponents on Boo Boo is only 17.8%. It's between 17 and 18%, which is crazy low. He doesn't get hit, all right? And he hits back. David Benavidez, solid defense. He has good head movement, but he gets lazy at times, and he squares himself up a lot, okay? So you match that up with the slow feet. He has moments where he squares himself up, puts up the earmuffs, and he'll walk you down, but he's not really doing a lot on defense. There were times in that Caleb Plant fight, I keep mentioning that because that's the most recent one, and it's the one that stylistically I think matches up the closest to what we're going to see with this Andrade fight. He was boxing circles around Benavidez. It wasn't until he gassed out that it became a huge, major freaking problem for him. But prior to that point, it was pretty one-sided in Caleb Plant's favor because his feet were way better. And his feet, in my opinion, aren't even as good as Andrade's. So I'm going with Andrade here because he moves around well. The head movement is crazy. He moves his head off the center line, comes from odd angles. Benavidez, while very good, he gets hit more often than he probably should. And I'm giving defense to Boo Boo here. Next one on the list, stamina. Both have very good stamina. And Boo Boo, I think he still has very, very good stamina. And we saw that with the Nicholson fight. Now, Nicholson, he's not Benavidez. Like, I don't get that misconstrued. However, he's a big 168-pounder who's a walking punching bag that will not go down. So he's constantly coming forward, and he's throwing punches. He's staying active. Boo Boo had no problems moving when he needed to, as well as opening up that offense. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 punch combinations all the way through the 10th round. And I think that gave him a lot of confidence, saying that, you know, I can go 10 rounds doing what I do at 160 and 154, and I still feel pretty good. Now, I know with higher competition, the punches are going to come back with more steam and more frequency, but I think I can do this. But Benavidez, I think that he's bigger than the weight class, and I think that he has to do significantly less to bring that physical presence to the ring. So I'm going to go stamina for David Benavidez. Next on the list, we got 3 left. Ring IQ, push. I think that Benavidez has more experience at this level against higher level competition. David Lemieux, Caleb Plant, Anthony Durrell. Even though he was a faded Durrell, still put Anthony Durrell. Versus Andre, he hasn't really fought anybody. You know, whether you want to say that that's his fault or people want to duck him or a mixture of both, that's a different conversation. But he doesn't have the same experience at the pro level as Benavidez. However, in the amateur level, he's seen it all. He's been phenomenal. He rarely gets hit, right? So ring IQ, push. Experience, again, push, for the similar reason that he has way more amateur experience. He's seen way more styles. He knows how to adjust. There's nothing you're going to show him that's really going to confuse him. But then Benavidez, his last 3-4 fights, he's continually stepped it up in competition. And that Plant fight did wonders for him because he got to see a true slick boxer, a true 168-pounder. All right? Anyways, I give that a push. And then last one being X Factor. What do you bring that's special compared to everybody else at your weight class that separates you from everybody else at your weight class? David Benavidez, relentless, effective pressure. And even when he's throwing filler punches, it looks like it doesn't drain his gas tank. And that's what makes him special. He'll be up in your face. He throwing them. Not all of them have steam on them, but he throw all of them and he's not breathing heavy after. That's what makes him special. But then Andrade, the angles. So for me, I give the X factor to Andrade because of the awkward angles. And my style personally fighting is similar in some ways to Andrade's style because I like moving my head off the center line and then throwing unconventional punches from very unconventional and awkward angles. Things that you're not expecting. Even if you're a great fighter, a lot of fighters are used to fighting guys that fight by the rules, right? You know, if I throw the 1, the 2's coming, most likely. Versus with Andrade, he steps off center line, doesn't throw the 1, then the 2's coming, and then the 1 might come after. Like, you never know what's freaking going to come from this guy, right? So I'm going with Andrade for the X factor. So all in all, I have it scored 3-2 for Andrade with 3 categories that have a push. So I'm giving Andrade the victory by a slight edge. I think Andrade is going to edge this out by split decision. I can see a split decision for Andrade in this fight. So that's my call. Let me know what you guys think about the prediction, but I see it playing out 2 ways. Even though I'm picking Andrade to win by split decision, but if he doesn't win by split decision, then I think it will be by stoppage by Benavidez. I don't see Benavidez winning by decision. I think he either stops Andrade or Andrade beats him by split decision or, let's say, majority decision. That's the way I see it. Let me know what you guys think on that. The reasons I think, just to wrap this up, 1, he's awkward as hell. Not just awkward, he's awkward as hell, which I just mentioned before. The counter-punching, and I think he's going to take that jab away. In a similar way that Crawford did with Spence, I think he's going to take away that Benavidez jab, and he has a very, very good jab. So does Andrade. Third, the traps. Stepping off the center line, setting those awkward traps, making you think he's open, especially when he throws. He'll be from southpaw. He'll throw a two, like a left-hand cross, and then he'll step into an orthodox stance. And then he's there to be hit, but then he's so damn fast that he moves out the way like a ghost. So, again, traps. And then 4, he's going to be stronger than people anticipate, including Benavidez. I think Benavidez, he's a big guy, strong guy. He come in there, he wears you down, overpowers you, demoralizes you. He sets the tone with an imposing presence. But I think that Boo Boo, and you just look at his legs, pause, and look at how he's built. He's meant to be fighting at 168. He's a big guy. He's not a small guy. All right. So that's why I had Boo Boo winning by split decision. I originally had Benavidez. I'm a huge Benavidez fan as well. I'm a fan of both of these guys. I love them both. I originally had Benavidez winning this fight, but then the more and more I looked at film, well, I can definitely see him winning. Okay, here it is. If Boo Boo gets tired in the second half, he'll lose. If he does not get tired, he washes Benavidez. That's going to be my hot take, okay? I'll repeat that. All right? Maybe I want to clip this, make a short or a reel out of it, whatever. If Boo Boo Andrade wears down stamina-wise at the midpoint, let's say, David Benavidez would get him the F up out of there, okay? It won't be easy, but he'll get him the F up out of there by round 9 or 10. If Boo Boo doesn't get tired and is able to fight this fight at his pace, I don't think it's going to be close. So that's my take on it. Let me go ahead and read these comments before I head on out of here. Again, from Zave, I think Boo Boo should edge it, but if it's close, I feel Benavidez will win. Certainly valid. If it's very close, it could be a coin flip as to how the judges see it. Boo Boo has to pitch a shutout performance, in my opinion. I agree with that as well. But that's exactly to my point. If he doesn't get tired, I do think he pitches a shutout performance. But if he does start to get tired, that gas tank is a little off in round 6 or 7, I think Benavidez walks him down and stops him. So, like I said, I picked Andrade, but I gave you guys a second scenario where I think Benavidez wins. I think it's a coin flip fight. I just don't see Benavidez winning by decision. If he wins, he's going to stop his ass. All right, so Andrade by split decision. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe. Enjoy the fight. All right, enjoy the fight. Eat, be safe. And I hope this is a great fight to end off Showtime's boxing run. It's really a shame that we have HBO out the game and now Showtime's following. You know, you have these other promotional companies like The Zone. They're doing it differently. They're doing it right. They're making it affordable, and then they're putting on better fights, and this is the byproduct, okay? If you can't compete, then you got to step to the side. But this is what boxing needs. Like, you need more top guys fighting top guys. And thank goodness Boo Boo was able to get a top fight before he's too old, okay? He's 35, but I think he's a young 35. He don't get hit. There's not a lot of tread on the tire. And for a guy that relies on his speed, agility, and his natural athletic ability, he still has enough of it left where it's a coin flip. He can either get worn down by Benavidez, or it could be spooky hours where he just really takes Benavidez to work. So we're going to see. That being said, enjoy the fights, and I'll catch you on the next one. Salute.